Hi there, Gurjinder. Let's take a look at your new set of essays. Your letter is first. Um, it's a little short. As you probably know, the 150 word minimum doesn't really exist anymore. So the 150 words are suggested, but generally the idea is that it's going to be very difficult to get a high band score for task achievement in less than 150 words because your answer probably won't be very developed. So we never count this in the word count, we never count the name, and we never count the sign off. So, this is all that we would count in the word count, and it comes up to 149 words. So my first feeling is that you probably didn't develop something enough, okay? But let's read it through and see what actually is the case. All right, so let's see. Dear Peter, I'm writing to apologize for not, okay? I'm writing to apologize for not being able to meet you last week as my official conference was very hectic and I was unable to find time for you. Okay? Anyway, not anyways, this is really informal and we don't really write it. So anyway, I hope your family and girlfriend are all well. Like I said, being in a high profile job, comma, I have I have the whole responsibilities of the conference. Well, not really. I have all the responsibilities of the conference. I don't know what you mean by over this. On the last movement, one more delegation group confirmed their visit, and do this, I need to book the arrangements and other relevant thing for them. This is the reason why I'm not able to meet you on that day. Okay, so what's happening here is I understand what you're trying to say, but the grammar is really off. There are a lot of mistakes throughout this entire paragraph. So I want you to be really, really careful about this, all right? When your grammar is this inaccurate, it's definitely going to lower your score. So let's look at what you could have written here instead. Like I said earlier, as I have a high profile job, I had the responsibilities, I had all the responsibilities of organizing the conference. Over this on the last movement. I don't know what that means. Over this on the last movement. I really have no idea. To give you an example, at the last moment, one more delegation group confirmed their visit. And because of this, I needed to book the arrangements and other relevant travel. We don't say thing. It's too vague. It's not precise. So I needed to book all of their arrangements for them. That is the reason, without a comma here, why I was not able to meet you last week. Okay, so my company is organizing one more conference in your town next month, and I'm free at that time because my colleague will take care of the conference. I'll let you know the date and time for the next month, and hopefully we will enjoy. I don't know what you mean here, that movement. We don't say movement like this. I'm very excited about seeing you. Get rid of the two. Now, all the best is okay for a closing, but not really for a sign off. So we usually would say something like warm regards, warmly, lots of love, your friend, something like that would have been better here. All the best doesn't really feel like a sign off. So, like I said, maybe you know, yours fondly, yours warmly. Uh, let's see. Just something like that, okay? So a nice informal closing. So I guess what happened was that it's not that you didn't develop this enough. You developed the bullets fine. The problem is that your grammar kept you from having a word count that was a little higher. Okay, so I need you to work on the grammar a little bit, and I think it'll be okay. All right, so let's take a look at this. Task 2, this is about traditional foods being replaced by fast food and the negative impact it has on families, individuals, and society. Let's see what you wrote. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated on the replacement of traditional fast food by fast food and the consequences towards individuals and their families are negative, which drove many health-related problems. All right, grammar is again a problem here, Gurjinder. So let's see. Let's try it one more time, okay? Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated on the replacement of traditional food by fast food and its consequences and its negative consequences towards individuals and their families. Full stop, basically. Get rid of the health problems. This whole section doesn't help you. It just confuses the sentence. We would have to totally rewrite it in order to make this section fit in there. So just get rid of it and let's move on. I strongly agree with this statement, and this essay will analyze, careful, you wrote analysis, different word. This essay will analyze both issues, okay, and use examples from the UK government and Oxford University, get rid of the, to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, which are both issues? I only saw one issue, which is that traditional food is being replaced by fast food. So what's the other issue you're going to talk about? Okay, you didn't really write one. I know that you think that we understand that you're talking about traditional food versus fast food, but it's not clear. Furthermore, make sure that this actually is what they're asking you. Take a look at the task again. It says, in many countries, traditional foods are being replaced by fast food. This has a negative impact on families, individuals, and societies. To what extent do you agree or disagree? So apparently, you strongly disagree that this replacement has a negative impact on families, individuals, and society. So why are you going to discuss both views? And what's the second view? Okay, so why am I spending so much time on this? Well, it's because your introduction is super important. It's essentially giving the map, like it's giving the blueprint for what the reader expects to see in the rest of your essay. Okay, so some of the things that you've written here don't really make a lot of sense. So since they asked you to what extent do you agree or disagree, you could either 100% agree, 100% disagree, or partially agree. So you've told us here that you strongly agree. So if that's the case, and you don't have to talk about the other side, why are you telling me you're going to analyze both issues? Secondly, what are both issues? This is unclear to us, okay? So there are some problems here that definitely need to be rectified. Now, I have my own suggestions on how I think this could be well developed and written. But let's actually see what you wrote here. Okay, so let's move on to your body paragraphs. There is ample evidence that fast food is gaining popularity day by day in many countries. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, preservative packet foods easily available at every corner of the street. There's no verb here, Gurjinder. Firstly, and this isn't an expression, preservative packet foods. We don't say that. So I think you mean like pre-prepared foods are easily available at every corner of the street. Secondly, a significant portion of society avoids cooking healthy home food due to their hectic lifestyle, and they prefer to take a meal of a delicious hamburger, french fries, cold drinks, or similar deep fried foods. For example, recent empirical research by the UK government demonstrated that 83% of all office staff prefer to, not intake, that's the wrong word, to purchase or consume fast food in their lunchtime. It must not be forgotten that traditional home cooked food contains a lot of nutrients and other essential proteins. That is the basic necessity of the human body. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that fast food does not provide the basic requirement to build up a strong body, and its adverse effects are individuals becoming plump. Okay. Well, there are a number of issues with this paragraph. Remember what the essay is asking you. Right now, it just kind of felt like this. Let's see. This was talking about, I want to see what if I can gauge what your central idea is here. So you told us why fast food is gaining popularity. Okay, so that's what this was about. All right, check it out. So up to here, you were telling us why fast food is gaining popularity. Then all of a sudden, you told us that home cooked meals are healthier. Okay. And then the last thing you told us, oh wait, yeah, so look, why are we eating fast food? Then you told us that home cooked meals are healthier for the body. And then you told us that fast food isn't healthy. And then you told us that people are getting fat. So there is no central idea here. There has to be just one overriding main idea. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. So in terms of coherence and cohesion, this has an issue. Let's look at your next paragraph. All right. Although there is a case of obesity, hypertension, and high sugar level, no, that doesn't work. Although there is a case of obesity, hypertension, and high sugar level, no, grammatically this sentence needs to be totally rewritten. I understand that you're trying to use this expression from the template, and that's great. It's a good expression to use, but it needs to be done correctly. So let's get rid of although entirely and say, and let's get rid of this too. Let's get rid of all of that, okay? And then instead just say obesity, hypertension, and high sugar levels comprise some of the health challenges to any government and its citizens in 21st century. This is largely because of introducing branded retail chains of fast food in every corner of the city that is easily approachable by every person. For example, an extensive study by Oxford University showed that 90% of, I don't know what this means, publish excursion spot? I don't know what that means. Have food courts that serves less, it's not hygienic, the word is healthy. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt the major contribution are from these outlets in the society for spreading the root cause of health issues. Okay, there are again problems with this. We'll talk about it in a minute. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that fast food has a negative influence on everybody in the society, especially the youngsters. You shouldn't have brought this up because you never talked anywhere in your essay about youngsters, and so you're not supposed to bring up any new information in your conclusion, okay? It is predicted that the administration, which administration, will take necessary steps preventing them from opposite consequences of the same in the future. I don't understand that. Preventing whom from what opposite consequences? So this is really rather vague. I don't understand who you're talking about. It's a little incoherent. Now, I kept telling you throughout the essay, we'll talk about this later, we'll talk about this later. So clearly there was a problem with locating a central idea here. It didn't feel in this essay at all that your paragraphs had one central idea. Let's see. Here, this was just about how easily accessible fast food is, and that that's it. It was about how accessible it is and how there's all this fast food everywhere and it's a problem for society. Okay, great. So let's talk about why I kept saying we'll talk about this later. Look at the task again. Look at the prompt. It says, in many countries, traditional foods are being replaced by fast food. This has a negative effect on families. What is this? What is this referring to? It's referring to the fact that traditional foods are being replaced by fast food. This has a negative effect. This replacement of traditional foods, okay? And the fact that fast foods are taking over and kind of making traditional foods extinct, as it were. So this has a negative impact on families, this trend, okay, on families, individuals, and societies. You told me that you strongly agree with this. So how did you actually need to develop this essay? Well, first of all, you needed to talk about families. You needed to talk about the negative effect on families, the negative effect on individuals, and the negative effect on society. I will accept that you did kind of talk about the negative effect on society, kind of, but not not really, not really precisely, a little bit. But you really did not talk about families, and you kind of talked about individuals, but not entirely, because like I said, this was really it was not cohesive. It was not a cohesive paragraph. It kind of jumped all over the place. So what you needed to do here was basically say to yourself, okay, why is the trend of fast food eclipsing traditional food negatively affecting families? Why? What does it mean when families are no longer eating traditional food, but they're now eating fast food? So this is what this paragraph needed to be about. Okay, you could have talked about how fast food means that we're no longer preparing dinner together, we're no longer sitting around the table as a family eating together, discussing our day. So as a result, the bonds of the family, traditions, and communication of the family, because of our hectic lifestyle, um, are kind of becoming extinct. Okay, so that's what you could have talked about in terms of family. You could have also talked about that traditions in families are dying out. So a lot of recipes are passed down from generation to generation. And if all of a sudden, we're not cooking some of these foods anymore, and instead we're going to pizza or burgers, then some of these traditions and cultural elements are also dying out. Okay, so not only does this affect the family, but you could also say that it more broadly affects the society, because in turn our society is becoming more homogenized, um, with these pre-prepared meals really becoming um, our life source, essentially. Okay, so that's what you could have talked about in this paragraph. Here, you could have talked about individuals. All right, you could have talked about what this replacement means for them in terms of their health, which you kind of did. You could have talked about the high fat content, the high preservatives, colors, questionable quality of these foods, okay, and how this is leading to hypertension, obesity, um, a whole host of diseases, heart disease, etc. And what this does in turn is this affects society, because now you have a society of less healthy people. Okay, this could be dangerous for the government, for its budgets, for the health system, etc., etc. So that's how you develop this essay. Okay, so as I suggested, you could have talked about family and society. Here you could have talked about the individual and society as well. Okay, so an extension, or you could have split them up in some other way that felt more natural to you. But this is how I suggest doing it. I also really want you to work on your grammar. There are a number of places that are incoherent, so you got to work on that a little bit to give yourself a chance to do well in the grammatical range and accuracy portion. Okay, so go ahead, correct these. Let's see more work from you, and I'll be waiting. Good luck. General. Oops, what just happened? Did I just do something weird? I